Welcome to the Writerpreneur Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to break down the Writerpreneur Business Model. I'm going to do it in two steps. The first is why I believe writing is the biggest opportunity for you if you're looking to actually have some income outside of your day job. Now, this is coming from someone who's the current operations manager at capitalism.com. I help people on a day-to-day level. I help people scale their physical product businesses from 6 to 7 to 8 figures. And I believe for most people, writing is a better opportunity for them. Now, after I go through that first part, then I'm going to walk through the actual Writerpreneur business model. This is going to break down writing into 4 stages, going from your first 500 followers to making your first quiet 5 figures. Now, let's start with the first one. Why writing? Point number 1, it actually makes money. Now, when you're launching a physical product business, most people, if you've never done it, you don't realize how many fees actually go into that. So let me just break this down for you. If you're going to launch a physical products business, you have the cost to buy the product itself. We call this the COGS, or the cost of goods sold. So it's the cost to buy the product from the manufacturer. Then you have the shipping from the manufacturer to the warehouse. There's an extra fee. Then you have the fee of warehousing, actually storing it at whatever location you have. There's another fee. Then you have the fee of fulfilling the product. So shipping the product from the warehouse to the customer. There's another fee. Then you have operations fees, which is going to be platform fees, customer relationship management fees. So there's going to be like email fees, any sort of ads platform, anything that's going to take, if you're hiring VAs or employees, if you have physical locations, anything it will take to run the business day to day. Then you have paid advertising fees. Almost every business requires some form of paid advertising when it comes to a physical product. Now, what is left over is the profit. That's what you can stick in the back pocket. And that's not even including taxes and all that, right? So we'll just pretend those don't exist. What's left over is profit. That's what you put in your pocket at the end of the day. If you're operating at a 20% profit margin, you're doing really good. At 20%, you're doing really good. And that's terrifying to think of. This is why so many businesses fail, because they think, oh, I have this product and I'm selling it for 3 times more than what I bought it for. I should be fine. And the reality is, after you take in shipping, fulfillment, warehouse, operations, paid ads, not even including taxes, you probably won't make much money. Now, there's one other reason why I'm not a big fan of people starting physical product businesses for most people, and this is the cash upfront. Now, there's a couple ways you can get around this by doing some crowdsourcing, doing some Kickstarters, things like that. But for most people, those fail. You have to spend a ton for inventory, for shipping, for fulfillment, for warehouse, for operations, and for paid ads, all before you get paid. All before a customer buys your product. Before I started Writerpreneur, I actually had 3 physical products businesses in line, mapped out, and I was debating between these 4 businesses, Writerpreneur or any of these 3 physical product businesses. And one of the reasons I chose Writerpreneur is because of, 1, I knew I could make profit on it. I wouldn't have to pay for all these fees. And 2, I knew I wouldn't have all of my cash tied up. I wasn't going to have to drop $5,000 and pray that I made that back at some point in time, which is what most people end up doing. So writing is actually a lot more profitable than a physical product business in most cases. The second reason I choose writing is because when you write, you're learning a skill that you can use forever. When you learn how to build an audience, specifically how to build an audience through writing, you learn a skill to master attention. That is something that gets more valuable every single year. Attention doesn't disappear. It just moves from one platform to another. If TikTok disappears, that people who are on TikTok, they're not just going to stop getting on social media, they'll just move to a new platform. So if you learn the skills of mastering attention, how to capture attention, how to convert that attention, then that skill will serve you regardless of what happens in the marketplace, regardless of the platforms, regardless of who's doing what. The other reason I like writing as opposed to any other content creation is because it strips away all of the guesswork. If a video goes viral on TikTok, You don't really know whether it was because you had a good hook, whether it was because the idea was good. It could have been that you had really fast-paced edits and were using trending audio. It's really hard to tell because there's so many factors that go into a piece of content that's, we'll say, video on TikTok. When you're writing, the only thing that goes into it, you have your thumbnail, your title, and then the content. It's very simple. The other reason that writing builds your skills is because this will increase your baseline pay for the rest of your life. If you learn how to build an audience, the minimum that you can get paid at a job instantly goes up. You're no longer, if everything else fails, you're no longer going back to getting a job at McDonald's or Walmart. Instead, you can be a coach, you can be a consultant, you can work for a different business with this skill set, and the minimum that you get paid, that minimum bar, instantly raises. Now, let's break down the Writerpreneur Business Model. I break this down into 4 steps. Step 1 is get your first 500 followers. The reason this is the first step is because it validates the idea that you have and validates the value that you have to the market. A lot of people, I used to be one of them, always thought your followers are a vanity metric. Followers don't actually matter. Why would we care? You can't make money off of followers, and it's true. You can't exchange followers for cash. It's not how this works. However, followers are very important. I have a community called Writerpreneur, and we have weekly calls, and I was talking about this, and one of the community members pointed this out. He said, followers are like stock. When someone follows you, it's as if they're buying stock in you. What they're saying is they believe what you're doing today is valuable. And most importantly, they believe what you write tomorrow will be more valuable. That is why followers are important. That is why you have to focus on getting your first 500 followers before you do anything else. This validates the idea. It validates that you have value to the market. Step 2, once you have your first 500 followers, then you focus on getting your first 500 email subscribers. Okay, this allows you to learn the pain points that your audience has so that you can solve them in the next step. This also allows you to learn what words, what phrases, what messages connect with the audience. You end up building your pillar content by seeing how the audience responds to these different pieces of content. And you learn the audience in a much deeper level. And this creates connection. This creates buy-in. You can get on one-on-one calls with these people. This is how you set the foundation of a business. You're no longer a content creator, but you're actually a business during this step. Step 3, get your first $500. This is where you learn to serve the audience. You've learned their pain points through your first 500 email subscribers and developing that relationship. Now it's time to solve those pain points. You learn the basics of simple sales, not pushy, just genuinely solving their problems. You make your first $500. Then step 4, you make your quiet 5 figures. This is where you put systems and processes in place. This is where you start becoming more results driven in the products and services that you offer. This is where you have your value ladder created. This is where you start to scale that up in your first 5 figures. If this process was helpful, just please leave a comment, let me know, and feel free to go to gabrielklingman.com and sign up for my email list. I send out tons of content all around writing and business, specifically for nonfiction authors. So that's Gabriel Klingman, GabrielKlingman.com.